Ryback, hey, it's Chuck Carroll and Adam Carriker with Fourth and Pain. How are you?
Good, man. How you doing today?
Doing good. Listen, greatly appreciate you taking the time to speak with us. And before we get started with the interview, I think that you should really know that the gentleman sitting to my left is a Redskins defensive end who prides himself on having the largest arms on the D line. So the first question I have for you is, have you measured your biceps and how big are they?
I haven't measured them. I know they're quite large, and some weeks are better than others. And that's actually one thing I'm obsessed with. I am always striving to have my arms as big as possible. So I know at one point they were over 20, but I'm quite lean as well, and I'm proportioned quite well, I would say. So there's some guys, that have the oversized arms and the smaller body. I'm pretty sure he's probably a big guy everywhere. So, but you got guys like Cena that have just the big arms and they're a little more narrow. I'm a little more proportioned all around. So, but they're definitely over 20, that's for sure.
Well, you guys come to the Verizon Center on Monday night for Raw. Hopefully, we get to come backstage and it'd be great to meet you. Maybe you and I, maybe we can compare biceps because I just recently measured my arms and I am well proportioned as well, but mine are 22 inches. So, would you be up for comparing biceps? Maybe doing a little measurement together?
I'm all for it. I never back away from a good challenge. So.
All right, we're speaking with Ryback here on Fourth and Pain, and I don't know how much truth is in a Wikipedia page. Adam, you know this firsthand, but Ryback,
according off the top of my head, probably not a lot.
Yeah, not much. Don't read mine.
Well, according to this, you played both baseball and football in high school. So obviously, with this being a pro football and wrestling show, what position were you in high school?
I played varsity all 4 years. Baseball, and then I actually was one of the only guys on our team went to state for football my freshman year, and I was the only freshman called up to the varsity squad just to practice with them and be their tackling dummies, but they knew I was one of the only few tough enough to be able to handle that. So that's always a moment I was very proud of when I was in high school. But the baseball, I literally played everywhere. My freshman year, I think I started out at third base, started there, and batted fourth and fifth, I think, my freshman year, and then moved up from there. And I played shortstop. I played center field, right field, left field, first base as I got a little older. I literally played pretty much everywhere I pitched. But my senior year, I remember I just pretty much stayed at first base because that's when I started getting a little bit bigger my senior year. So.
Now, what position did you play in football, and are you a football fan to this day?
I am still a football fan, but with how busy I am the last couple of years, I've literally, the only game I watched last year, sadly, was the Super Bowl. And I'm not proud of that, but that's not just football. I don't watch TV in general anymore. I canceled my cable. I literally, if I watch anything, I watch wrestling only. Because I'm obsessed with what I'm doing right now and being my best for the WWE, but that's a whole other subject right there. But in football, I played, again, freshman year, I was halfback, fullback, and defense, middle linebacker, and I was also the kicker. So I literally did everything and started at all positions.
What is it with you elite athletes that inevitably one of you guys was always the kicker on your high school team, no matter whether or not you grew up to be a defensive end? Goldberg said that he was a kicker, and now Ryback, to look at you, the first thing I'm thinking, definitely not kicker.
I wasn't a kicker. I couldn't even make extra points.
Well,
Remember I told you that story. I was like one out of five.
I played soccer for about 8 years, so that came in handy, I think, when I got into high school.
Yeah, that explains it.
I had a soccer background already from being a kid, so.
Now, we heard you started lifting at the age of 12 years old. What got you into lifting? And to this day, what are your major lifts and how much do you lift?
Actually, well, I started, I never touched the weight when I was 12. It was all body weight stuff. It was like crunches, sit-ups, squats, Hindu squats, push-ups, just anything that I could do just with my body weight, pull-ups. I remember my parents had a pull-up bar in their room randomly that was built into the house when we lived there, and I would always go in their room and just do pull-ups constantly because I loved the way it made me feel. But I grew up when I was a kid. I had a peak in my bicep and a hole in my forearm without ever touching a weight. And so everyone always thought I was weird. And my mom was always kind of a fitness little guru. She was always like doing the workout videos. So I think I kind of just picked that up from watching her, and I love the way that made me feel. I was always very active as a kid, out in the streets playing football, baseball, hockey with all the neighborhood kids. I was always the leader organizing all the sports for whatever, sport was in season at the time. And so it kind of just started from that. And then my freshman year in high school, they saw me and they threw me right in weight training. And I never looked back.
We're speaking with Ryback here on 4th and Payne, WWE Raw coming to the Verizon Center on Monday. And then next Sunday, the granddaddy of them all, WrestleMania 29, where this guy Ryback is going to face Mark Henry. And so here's the question, Adam. You threw out the arm wrestling challenge to Mark Henry a while back. You didn't hear back. So, Ryback, my question to you is, if you challenged Mark Henry to an arm wrestling contest, do you think you could beat him?
Oh, I definitely. There's nothing I believe I can't do. I'm very strong mentally. Now, obviously, arm wrestling, a lot of that is form and technique. I've seen some of the smallest people beat some of the bigger people with no problem whatsoever, based strictly off of form. So that was something, if I would have thrown myself into that without properly educating myself on the technique and the form on that in order for me to feel confident enough to go in there and win. But I think I am extremely strong. There's nothing I can't do in that ring and in lifting guys up and weight in the weight room. So, Mark Henry, obviously, he was the world's strongest man at one point and possibly still is. But I have a speed and explosiveness to me, along with that strength, that I think that separates me from a lot of guys. So I think I could beat Mark Henry in an arm wrestling challenge, though, if I had to.
Now, I have to make one confession to you. Goldberg is my favorite wrestler of all time. You probably get this all the time, but I have to ask, what do you think of the Goldberg chants and comparisons?
I'm sorry, what is that? About what now?
Well, what do you think of the Goldberg chants during some of your matches and the comparisons that you received to Goldberg?
Oh, no, that fight that was really strong early on, and I honestly believe it was the WWE.com website. Actually, I hold responsible for a lot of this. They put up an article on the .com showing that after like 2 or 3 weeks of being on TV, that I channeled Goldberg in my matches, along with like Ultimate Warrior and all these other guys. There was a list of like 5 guys. But I saw that, and instantly I'm thinking, why are they even putting this out there to begin with? I got the bald head and the big traps. People are going to make that comparison anyways with the intensity. And I apologize for my voice. It's shot from screaming, "Feed me more." So it's getting hard to keep up here. But it's never bothered me at all. I've always looked at it as a positive. And it's pretty much, it's come to an end pretty much, with the exception of our TV events. Every once in a while, the crowd will start chanting it again. And it's usually just a few, smart asses out there trying to get a rise out of everyone. And it's usually overwhelmed by "Feed Me More" pretty much instantly now once it starts. But I loved Bill Goldberg growing up. I think everyone did. He came in at the time and he rose through the ranks very quickly. He had that big undefeated streak, and he brought an intensity that we had not seen in some time. And I feel that I do the same. For this era, I've done something sort of similar along those lines. We haven't seen a guy at my size with that intensity come in some time. So the comparisons are there as far as how we were brought in. And, I was undefeated for a while and whatnot. But me and Bill are 2 completely different entities, and I don't go out there and try to copy him or be him. But it's never been a negative from my standpoint.
Ryback, I know we're pressed for time, so one last question. We're actually going to give that one to you. We always like to do this with our guests. If there's anything you want to ask Adam, the NFL player, the Washington Redskin, now is certainly that time.
But let's see. If I could ask you one question, it would be, what is it going to have to take out of Ryback to make you his number 1 guy over Goldberg?
That's going to be really tough. I loved Goldberg's entrance. I loved his explosion. I loved everything about him. Honestly, I don't know, man. It'd be tough. It would have to wow me, because the first time I ever watched Goldberg, I needed to be wowed, and that's all it would take. And honestly, you're one of my favorite guys now, because you do remind me of him, and that's a compliment to you. Just the wow factor.
That's a good thing, I would say.
Looking forward to
I will say I've never saw Goldberg pick up two guys that were two grown men like I've done. So I think there's a lot more of that to come in the future. So
I look forward to it.
Well, looking forward to meeting you Monday night for the big bicep measure off, and then seeing you next Sunday at WrestleMania against Mark Henry. Ryback, best of luck, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. This is Fourth and Pain. We'll be
Take
right
care.
back.